Hello, my friends, and welcome to another reflection session, sit down, chat, whatever you want to call it. This is Frappes and Frequency, or the channel anyway. Before we get started and dive into what the heck is being felt, sensed, experienced, wanting to be shared, let's take some deep as frickin' breaths. Let's resource ourselves. And when I say resource, I just mean getting all the things you need, like grabbing a cuppa, which is kind of the vibe of the space. Um, going to the toilet, doing the things that you need to do to get yourself comfortable. So yeah, let's take some deep breaths, open up the space. It's a very interesting energy that's kind of coming through right now. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But you can, if you're able to, shut your eyes for this part. If you want, you don't have to, of course. And if you want to skip ahead, that is quite all right as well. However, I do encourage to allow this moment of space, to allow the slowness, allowing just a moment of integration of, whatever you're feeling right now. We're just pausing, checking in, and yeah, essentially that's it. So deep breath in through the nose, hold the top, and then focusing on the exhalation out. And with each exhalation, just checking into the body, seeing how we're feeling, if we're holding any tension anywhere. Just becoming aware of the internal environment. Just going to invite you to take one more deep breath. And when you're ready, slowly bringing your awareness back to the screen. If you want, you can also orient, which is a somatic practice, so you can look around the room really, really slowly without labeling anything. And what this does is just gives your body the sensation that it is safe to proceed, that you're not in any imminent danger. This is a way to regulate the nervous system. You can look at the back of you as well if that helps, or if you feel the need to do so, I should say. And taking any further deep breaths that you need to. So, not quite sure what is going to be spoken to today, what's going to come through. There is something about a smell. So, whether in your environment there is a smell, or if that's metaphorical and there's like something is smelling off, like something's not quite right in your environment, it's going to look different for everybody. There is some discomfort in the upper body. So if you do need to move, then do so. But yeah, let's spill some tea and see what's going on. Or some hot chocolate or Milo. Yeah, let's see what's going on with this smell, whatever is going on in the energy, in the collective energy. I'm seeing divine masculine. I'm also seeing guides. I don't know if that means anything to anybody. Hmm. Yeah, there's very, okay, I'm getting like a sharp stabbing pain in the hip, and not like the hip bone, like just below that. So not quite sure what that's about. Oh, oh, oh my gosh. So with this new room change, all my things are on a trolley, and it's not ideal because it's really hard to pull shit out. Not that you need to worry your little hearts about that. Okay, so hips generally, and so this is the Secret Language of Your Body book. I just generally tend to refer to this if there are sensations going on that I'm not familiar with, or if it just needs to be spoken to. Anyway, so hips mean, or according to Ina Segal, or Ina Segal, family problems and disagreements. Who are you carrying on your hip? Feeling used, unappreciated, angry, betrayed, deceived, let down, shot down, alienated. Experiencing strain, frustration, guilt, lack of support, too much responsibility, feeling unacknowledged, taken advantage of, manipulated. That in and of itself is really heavy, right? Like, I almost feel like I need to take a breath after that because it feels really heavy. It's not directly on the hip, it's kind of just below that in that like fatty sort of tissue, and it's gone now. So yeah, I'm really curious if this is resonating with anyone so far. So do make a comment, leave a comment if that's what you're experiencing, if it's resonating. Um, hmm. Yeah, there's something to be said about a visitor, maybe even an energy of leaving behind a web or trail, or just creating some sort of a web or netting. But what I was going to say before is that the the general energy is feeling, dare I say, slightly ominous. Um, yeah, slightly ominous, uncertain. It seems really quiet, sort of on the surface, but underneath, it seems like a. I'm hearing the. Is it toil? Bubble, toil and trouble. What is that? Um, Nursery rhyme thing. Toil and trouble. Bubble, toil and trouble. Interesting. It's, yeah. It's feeling like this bubbling of sorts. Bubble, toil and trouble. That, what was that from? It's got something to do with like witches and their cauldron. I'm not quite sure where that's actually from. Might be a book or something. And I'm not obviously posturing that there's going to be some sort of energy exploding out of nowhere. That could be the case, but it could also just be thoughts. Like, you generally are quite peaceful or quite calm, and then out of nowhere, you have this explosion of thoughts, or you're just feeling erratic, or the brain is producing a lot of maybe thought or narrative or story or something like that. Oh man. Okay. Let's get 3 cards to start. Yeah, there's definitely like there's a change in the air even. Okay. And the shift card is here. Challenge. This could be to do with home. Um, okay. Yeah. There's definitely, and it's a quite an abrupt shift because as I'm looking outside, it was so calm, it was chill. Like I could see that there were dark clouds approaching, but then out of nowhere, the wind is blowing and it's getting a bit crazy out there. It's getting darker, so very interesting. And the fact that we have the shift card first up. Okay, this card definitely wants to come out. Um, what about? Oh, sorry guys, my cards are back to front. So yeah, there's definitely like shifting of energies. Um, I want to say back and forth, but it's not seeming like that. It's seeming like overlapping. Yeah. So let's just get one more for this. Okay, so even though this is a general kind of reflection, there's nothing, well, I hope that's how it comes across. There's nothing really predictive about it. There is sometimes I do speak to the aspects, the planetary aspects, and the reason I'm saying that right now is because we've got a full moon and a new moon card. And we're kind of in the midst of a full moon at the moment, at the time of this recording, the full moon in Aquarius. It is the 1st of August. So yeah, it's that overlapping because a full moon is generally a big moon that you can see. It's very very bright. I mean, if you've been looking at the full moon, particularly the one in Aquarius, you'd see how big and yellow it is. And then we've got the new moon, which is dark, so you generally don't tend to see it. So yeah, there's these overlapping kind of frequencies. Um, and I'm not quite sure what that is in reference to. Um, okay, so we have the home card. Oh, interesting because that's not the card I was thinking of. But we do have it here, but that's not the card that I was going to talk about. The card I was so that's the home card, but the card I was going to talk about was the shift and safe travel. And it's curious to me, this symbol on the shift card, because before I got started, um, I was kind of just sitting and not trying to do anything, just sitting with what the potential frequency could be. Excuse me, that's going to present itself today. Nothing was coming out, but there was this like anxious feeling in the let's just say the sacral chakra, for benefit of concept and where this is being felt in the body. um so yeah, this undercurrent, this is interesting undercurrent. But as I was just sitting with it, I just um saw a pattern, and it was the union pattern, or the what do you call it, the infinity symbol, or some might refer to it as like a figure eight. I am kind of seeing that here as well, and this feels like an overlapping energy. So I guess the question here is, what what are you currently navigating that may actually be feeling quite confusing as well. Like there's this uncertainty about which direction to go or which decision needs to be made. And it might not even be, it might, I mean, again, wow, the clouds are so dark right now. Yes, it's almost like this overhanging cloud, even of like the lights are changing, everything is shifting. So it's like when one change happens, it is affecting everything else. Um, but this could feel like crossroads energy where you're really not certain about the direction that you need to take, but there's also the sense that there's a reason that this is where you're at. There's a reason that this has been experienced, and it's not to necessarily make decisions. It's just to sit with it, because where this is sitting in, let's call it the spread, it's in the current energy. So I might even get more on that before I move on to the other cards. What do we want? Bubble, bubble, twirling, trouble. That's what it's. Okay. We've got Isis, magic manifesting. Your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming reality. Stay focused. I want to show you something. So, in the last pile, I've got the power card, and look at her headdress. It's the same symbol. What is that again? I feel like it's Horus. Interesting. Okay, not the one I wanted, but let's just. I'm just going to. um, talk to myself and imagine you know exactly what I'm saying. Okay. um, I don't really want to know about the message. It's more actual ISIS. No, that's not it. That is not the vibe I'm looking for. Give me 2 seconds, guys. So I try to not read the books, but I'm just curious about the symbol. Even though I've read it so many times, I'm just literally hitting a blank. Isis crown. So there are two Isis uh, representations here. It says the crown of Isis, and sometimes the crown of Hathor, is made up of a sun disk cradling cow's horns. The sun and cow were both worshipped in ancient Egypt as symbols of different but equal powers of the feminine and masculine. Um, this is very interesting to me because a few reasons. At when I was shuffling, I said I saw the divine masculine card, but prior to actually coming on here and recording, when I was sitting in meditation and I noticed that union symbol, I felt there was something. Was it a pain or ache or something in my left hand? And the left represents the feminine, so immediately the divine feminine came to me. So this is this overlap of energy. So it could speak to um in regards to this pile here, this shift and this directional change that's happening is almost, how does this want to be explained? Almost navigating how to be, um, like transitioning from one type of energy where you're quite action orientated, taking action, being a leader, getting things done, doing, very masculine, um, logical, etc., versus the nurturing, the softer, the more caring, the more intuitive. So it's almost this, yeah, this overlapping, and um, this idea that we have to be one or the other. And I want to speak to this because I've seen this in of quite a lot of kind of conversation about, oh yeah, I'm not saying this in a way to dismiss or be dismissive, but I'm in my masculine energy today. I'm just rah rah rah. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but what we need to realize is we're actually both. We are the infinity symbol. We are the union symbol. We're not just this or that. We're everything, right? So when I hear people say, I'm just feeling my feminine, that's all good and well, but there's a need to actually realize that you're not just one or the other. You're actually both. Sometimes one presents a little bit stronger. We're speaking of concept here, of course, but sometimes we present or express ourselves in a more feminine way, as in being a little bit more nurturing, compassionate. And then other times, we need to get shit done. So it's like, okay, let's flip this. It's yeah, it's that overlapping. It's like when we need to, we're like boom, boom, boom. It's like a different part of us being activated when it's necessary. And of course, I'm talking about body here so that people actually understand what the F I'm talking about. But Isis is a very, she is divine feminine. Okay, she is divine feminine. She's intuitive. She's also all about, I would say, surrender and trust, because in order to quote unquote manifest, I really disconnect and detach to that word now, manifesting. In order to receive, well, there's an interesting thought and an interesting conversation in and of itself, right? Because, and this is personal perspective only, but I do feel like things are going to happen the way it's going to happen. The only thing that we can quote unquote control is how we respond to the changes. So, for example, um, if we go through challenging situations or situations where things are wonderful and happy and bliss and sunshine and freaking rainbows and all of that sort of things, then when things then shift to a different outcome or a different experience, how do we actually respond to that change? Are we going to then yeah, I don't feel like I need to talk about that anymore. It's really just about being with what is, accepting what is, but also a lot of trust and a lot of surrender. And that's how we manifest, because I'm sure you've heard in the schools of thought about manifesting. It's like, put your manifestations out there and then let it be, and it'll come to you. It's pretty much the same premise, but sometimes when we want things so bad, we hold on to the form that it comes through, and that limits us a lot, because we expect a certain outcome or an outcome to look a certain way when it could be something else, or it could be presented in a way that was needed and not um, necessarily want it. I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say. uh, but there is also this feeling of, yeah, deep focus. I'm just looking into, her eyes, and there is this deep focus. Um, so it's interesting that it's actually appearing with this safe travel crossroad energy, because we've got these meeting points, right, in both of these cards. My hair is freaking going everywhere. We've got these meeting points. Um, but that's exactly where we need to be. And even in though it's not in the middle, where this is the now. It's like that is all we can focus on. That is all we can give our attention to, is actually the now, and not projecting into the future, not stressing about the past. um just want to see what else comes through for this pile. Ooh, and it's flown away. Oh, Gaia, beautiful. Gaia Earth connection. Be mindful of the planet. Come back to Earth. Stay grounded. That is about just being in the now, being in the here and now. Hmm. Actually, where is that card? I will show you that card that just appeared out of nowhere. So we've got Paul the Venetian. It says experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. So that could be a part of what the focus is right now. Instead of even, okay, so let's just link it up to how I said before. There's like this sense of shift, feeling maybe like something's brewing, right? Brewing to the surface. How to manage that, or navigate that, is to stay grounded, is to stay focused, is to share what is appearing. If it's, a way of expressing yourself through love and through inspiration and through being there for people, connecting with your community, connecting to one another, connecting with yourself even, that's grace. That is grace. Being in the here and now, that is grace. That's God, that's universe, that's source. So even if this shift is happening, which it is, big time, I don't know if you can feel it in the collective energy. I'm not just seeing it outside. Even if the shift does come, it doesn't actually matter which direction it takes you. It'll be for your it'll be for the highest and best outcome. Always. If you're directed by God, how can you go astray? There is I feel like it's a Bible verse. I can't actually recall it now, but yeah, it's something to do with that. If God's leading the way, you won't go astray. I mean, here we're getting all rhymey and stuff, but that's pretty much exactly what it means. Do we wanna? What else? I feel like didn't even pull from the archetypes deck. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Okay, let's get some cards for this home, or maybe I should talk about it first. So in the challenge, or the knot, so to speak, we have home, and similar vibe, right? Similar vibe with these directional patterns and the new moon. So when the cards are in this pile for me, I tend to read them in a shadow aspect, but I just want to see what the symbol means for home. Um, Morning star. The morning star is the brightest star on the Dawn's horizon. It is considered an important spirit and honored as Kachina by Pueblo Indians. The Plains and Great Basin indigenous people honored it as a sign of courage and purity of spirit. The ghost dance religion revered it as a symbol of the coming renewal of traditions. Huh. Yeah, interesting because it says here pulling this card also symbolizes that wherever or whatever your current situation, you can trust that this moment is in alignment with your higher self. You have not lost your way, even though we have all these cards that kind of um, feel it's like there's three cards here that are showing different directions. In fact, quite specifically four different pathways, and then and that could be the case. Maybe you're considering four different pathways or four different options or even two different options. There are also a lot of circle cards here, representing circle, wholeness, completion. um, yeah, interesting. Drawing this card can signal a change in your physical home or sense of where you belong. And that may well be the case, right? Depending on what you're going through, whether you're going through a spiritual, that was so South African. As she's going through a spiritual journey. I'm South African, by the way, so I can actually do that. Where are we going? Okay, so let's get back on track. The year and now, guys. Okay, the year and now. That is how God shows itself. That's how God presents itself, even when we are in the midst of a challenge or a massive shift in reality or perspective or whatever it be. I was going to say something and it has left me. But hmm, the fact that the new moon is in this section of the spread, because generally the new moon talks about new beginnings, right? And there is possibly a collective that is wanting change, wanting shift, wanting to make a decision that will allow for things to change. However, it's somewhat either on pause, or there's this stagnancy, or let's get a tarot on this, or it's like forcing is not gonna forcing a decision is not going to create a better outcome, right? It's not, even though it feels like that sometimes, that you have to make a decision. If you make a decision, make it from the now space, make it from certainty, or oh, not certain. Interesting, because I don't feel like that's accurate. I feel like there's almost this collective wants certainty, and that is not necessarily how things work, right? Um, we don't always have that certainty when things are changing and shifting, or how does this want to be said? It doesn't always happen that we receive certainty or clarity and then we make the decision based on that. It's not always like that. Sometimes we actually just have to trust that things will work out irrespective, and it might take a detour or two to get to that, to feel like um I don't know, like content with your decision. Interesting. This is just a space of being with what is, as there is currently lots of shift, lots of uncertainty. There's literally no clear pathway, no direction. So there's there's no point in trying to force a change or force a move or force a decision when things aren't clear, when they're foggy, um, when it's even feeling like, what the heck is going on? It feels like this vibe of something brewing to the surface, and there's almost a need to say, just pause. Things will be revealed in due course. Ace of Cups. But it is showing up in the reverse. So this is very similar to the new moon energy, because Ace of Cups represents new opportunity, new of an emotional nature specifically. But this is feeling like when it's showing up in the reverse, it's speaking to blockage, even maybe emotional loss. And so I don't know if this is actually what's going on or if it's just an emanation or that anxious feeling that was felt before of, because sometimes that's what it feels like, right? There's this when you don't have that certainty, when you're not sure what decision to make, or if you're about to decide on something and you're not sure what the outcome will be, that can create some anxiety, right? That can present as anxiety in the body, is what I'm trying to say. No, let's move on. Because we're aware that the shift is going on, quite a big shift for some, I think. Um, Still a bit confused about the smell. Maybe that'll present later. In the section of the pile that's talking about the insight that's available to you now, we've got the power card and we've got the full moon card. So this speaks to reclamation, essentially. Like, I want to stop saying taking back your power, because I don't feel like that is quite accurate. It's more of a, and it's interesting because I had a little bit of a conversation with someone or someone that I know yesterday about this briefly, about um, protecting one's peace. And this is what I feel like the taking back your power is, or the reclamation of power. It's not, because what I feel like that can end up looking like is operating in life from a performative aspect, and it's not even that. It's just protecting your energy and releasing what is no longer yours with the full moon here. So we're releasing what is not ours. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, just give me. Mm, 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 mm. Oh dear. I'm now getting, oh wow, I'm now getting this visual of Angelina Jolie as Maleficent, and I'm looking down and I'm seeing this crown. You know, she's got the horns, and that was an interesting storyline too, right? It was like perspective shift, because what is everything is not as it seems. But I'm just being reminded of it because, when I said, oh dear, she, in the first movie, she goes, oh dear, or something like that. I think that's in regards to when she, Oh, I don't actually remember. Maybe the wedding, the part of the wedding, or when she gave the baby a gift. I cannot actually recall. Um, Anywho, the reason why the theatrics, if I can get my freaking words out, I pulled the divine director, and that is intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring now that you're being guided. Happiness is your purpose. So this was in the pile about what is twisting us up all inside. It's like we want direction, we want this certainty, and it's not that it's not available to us, because it is. It's just we're trying to force an outcome that we might not actually be ready for in a way sometimes, because there's something about, even though time is a concept, there's something about timing, about things happening within divine timing, right? um so yeah, let's not force this, whatever this is, and trust that you are being divinely guided, so to speak. Grace is always looking out for you, always, even though it might not feel like that. We are here to grow, we are here to learn, we are here to shed the constraints, the binds that hold us down, that limit us. And I don't mean that in a worldly sense either. I'm speaking to realizing who we really are and connecting with that, connecting with divinity, essentially, with true power, what true power is. Okay, so the card I pulled um, in the insight section is Kali Ma, and I'm not surprised she's come out. She is the bad bitch of the goddesses, or one of anyway. She is a fearless warrior who helps us um, liberate ourselves by, well, in the description or depictions of her, by cutting off the heads of men. And what that really means is, well, everyone's going to have their own perspective of what that means, but how it represents to me is detaching from the programming, detaching from the story, from the narrative, from the ways that society limits itself. And I'm just getting a bit of a headachy sensation, which is interesting. It's almost this feeling, what I'm sensing here is whatever it is that you need to release or let go of, whether it is a story, a narrative, programming, conditioning, it needs to work its way through in your process, so that you can tap into your intuition, which is just grace working through your vessel, right? um and the card says Kali Ma, facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. This is your chance to soar. And at the bottom, we've got Almoya, awakening presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. And that is just being in that space of releasing and detaching from the stuff that is not resonating with you. And, or in other words, protecting your peace. Gosh, I haven't even pulled from the archetypes card yet. Just saw the magician. That went back. Here's one for insight. Ten of Pentacles. So, Ten of Pentacles can speak to stability, can speak to essentially, how does this want to be said in a way? feeling like good times and good vibes. It's like contentment and happiness, if you will, but not from a uh, um, it's just feeling like connection, like actual connection. And yeah, the words are not coming through for me. I guess you could speak to security. For some, it may be financial security, but it could be security, stability, whether that be with family, whether that be with friends or whatever. Hmm. Is there anything else that we need to focus on? So I guess what we need to speak to is, yeah, whatever is going on right now, whatever this energy is of bubble, bubble, toil, and trouble, just remain. Just remain and actually allow what needs to shift to shift. Because sometimes we can get in this space of just holding on to dear life, to whatever it is that's um, you know, it could be of a material nature, like we don't want to get rid of our car because it's our car and it's a brand new car. And sometimes it's like, well, are you living outside of your means? Can you actually afford the car? Like a smaller car might actually be better and you can afford it, type of thing. Yeah, I don't know why that's coming through, but what I'm speaking to is just like, don't let the need or the want or the desire to hold on to material things, and everything that we see is material things, right? Um, or it could be even ideologies or belief systems. Don't let that um, distract from what actually is available, like freely available to you. It's Ten of Pentacles energy, guys. Okay, when we can release stuff, because generally in the full moon we do, it's generally about releasing belief systems and patterns. Don't allow your desires to limit you, because what um, I'm hearing that saying, what is for you will always be for you. But if you're so caught up in your head or your mind about, no, I want that thing, or I want this person, or blah, 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 then, okay, if we go back to that ideology of manifestation, it's not. It's not going to present itself in that way, because we're so like, we might not even notice it because we're so caught up in this one way of doing things, right? Um, So, yeah, instead of trying to force a decision based on our desire, allow it to present itself without fucking effort. Because I just feel like that is more powerful. It's more impact. It has more impact when something like, almost like a miracle happens. It feels like a miracle sometimes when these things just appear to you, and it's like, oh my God, where did that come from? You know? Um, or, wow, I'm feeling this way and I never expected to feel this way, because I didn't think that this is what it could look like, because I was so focused on it looking like that. I hope that makes sense. Let's get one more for that insight. So even though you're smelling a shitty situation, you're smelling something brewing right now, don't let it distract you. Also, do not get distracted from the now, from reality. Knight of Cups in reverse. Do not get swept up by grandiose ideas of how to be and how to experience life, because all we do know is the now. Don't get caught up in, you know, whirlwinds of thinking. And if things are challenging or reminding you about reality, like for example, the system that we currently live in, where things are not really geared towards us succeeding in life. Like I literally just had this conversation with my husband this morning about how yeah, society is not geared to support people. It's almost this idea of this feeling of enslavement. It's okay to obviously have those types of conversations and to be grounded in reality, but don't get caught up in it. Do not get caught up in what you see or what you're currently experiencing, because things can change like that. Okay, let's pull out some of these archetype cards to finish off with. This did come out last, so the fact that I'm actually using it last is, I'm okay with that. Let's see. What else? Does this collective need to contemplate, sit with, reflect on, maybe even have conversations about, maybe, oh, feeling a very sharp pain above the right eye. Very sharp. That is the masculine side. EYES spells yes. It says not liking what you're seeing in your environment. We just spoke about that, how society is not geared to allow humans to thrive. Suspicion of people and events, seeing obstacles and limitations, wanting things to be different, fair, belief in aging, seeing life from a negative point of view, feeling stuck, seeing things from one directional perspective only, fearful of the future, wanting what others have, jealousy. Ooh dear. Right eye, blocking the flow of abundance and prosperity, experiencing challenges in your relationships, not seeing how you can change the situation. You don't need to, just be with it. It will change. It will change. And if not, then there's something that needs to be learned from that experience. Holding on to pain from the past and projecting it into the future. Did we not speak about staying in the here and now? Making excuses and finding reasons why things won't work. Feeling irritated with yourself and others. Well, damn. There you have it. There you have it. I feel like I spoke to that a little bit at the start. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, what else can we speak to? I'm just going to pull what falls out. Okay, so we've got 3 here. We've got the Queen, Eros, and the Flame. So really leaning into those softer aspects of your being, into the, like I said before at the start, yes, we're going from masculine to feminine, and we are both, right? But in order for us to be in this full moon vibe, this Kali Ma vibe, this reclamation vibe, there's also a need to integrate the softer aspects of our experience, like really tapping into our sensuality. Sensuality is how I perceive that word. So really leaning into being in the here and now by tapping into our sensuality, tapping into or allowing or exploring the senses, essentially, right? Eros and the flame. Do you want to read a little bit of the Queen? But I think it's going to speak to exactly what I just said. Queen, the Empress, the Mother Queen, the Sovereign, like her counterpart, the King. The Queen has a dualistic nature. So what I said about being both, we're not one or the other. Um, Actually, instead of both, we're all of it. Either she presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into pretty contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the king is the ego, the queen is the expression of that ego in the world. She's the lotus bloom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the queen is seated in a rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God. We've been talking about this, and God is to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the queen, is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. Amen. Hallelujah. Because we spoke about this. The royal queen fears nothing, for divinity itself cradles her heart. Oof. Okay. It says, when light, the embodiment of grace, courage, resolve, and stillness. Boom shakalaka in a bag of chips. How about that? So yeah, lean into those softer tendencies. Lean into the softer tendencies as in trust, surrender. Allow your intuition to peer through the veil by just being. Just even by allowing your nervous system to hold space for those challenging conversations, those challenging experiences, the challenging shifts. Yucky, yeah, but if you can hold space for it, you build your capacity and tolerance to um, to hold more, and it becomes it's almost like the more you do it, the more you hold space for it, it becomes less of a, and I don't know why I'm hearing less of a threat, because it does, right? It threatens our nervous system, threatens our perceived idea of happiness, it threatens our peace. So just allow, be, breathe, and surrender and trust. Know that everything will be okay either way. Even if you are in the midst and the thickness and the muck of challenge, trust that everything will work out, because it generally does. So, and also just being mindful to not get caught up in the stickiness when you are going through those difficult moments. So I hope that made sense. If it does resonate, let me know in the comments. But other than that, I hope everyone is okay. And yeah, I guess I will catch you in the next video. Take care. If you are on Rumble or you are on Substack, make sure to check the links, because the podcast, I am sharing the same stuff in there. Maybe a little bit more on Substack. Like I do share a few other things on there that's not on YouTube. I'm kind of using that as a community space. So yeah, if you so feel inclined to join me in those spaces, then you are welcome to join me. Okay, guys, make sure you breathe, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.